In the last 6 months, I've generated just under $11,000 purely through crypto profit alone, and I'm only 19 years old, so in this video I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I did it. So let me tell you, it was no walk in the park. As I started with no knowledge in the crypto space, it made it really difficult for me to know where to put my money and how much of it to put, but with the right systems in place, I know that I was able to eventually do it because I saw so many people also doing it. So when I first got into this crypto space, I only had about $200 to invest, and I knew that it really wasn't going to be enough for me to make any real sort of money. So I decided to time the market, and I know that every other YouTuber tells you not to time the market, to dollar cost average, but I chose that timing the market would be the best way to grow my money the quickest way. So I spent countless hours studying the market until I finally decided to put all my money into Ethereum because I saw that a bunch of people were selling and it was finally at its all-time low. Eventually, my money went all the way up to $250, where I then sold because I knew that if I wanted to multiply my money more, I'd have to put it somewhere else because Ethereum just wasn't doing it for me. Now this is not financial advice in any way, but I threw all my money into Dogecoin because I saw that Dogecoin was at an all-time low and I decided, well, if everyone's making money off Dogecoin, Dogecoin is the way. Eventually I learned that the VIX index is inversely correlated with the market, which means that whenever VIX goes up, that means volatility is rising, and of course the market comes down. So, as I saw that volatility was rising, I made sure to take all my money out of Dogecoin and hold for a little while. And by that point, I made all the way up to $300, which was insane for me because I made a $100 profit with my $200. And this was my first taste of the crypto money, of becoming rich. And I'm joking, but at that time, I was making $15 an hour, and this is Canadian, by the way. So that's like 9-10 bucks US. But anyways, making that and then just making $100 in like 4 days was like crazy to me. So fast forward to October of 2022, I realized that Dogecoin wasn't doing it anymore for me, and I needed something more stable but something that could still grow my income. So I decided to go right back to Ethereum. In October, I realized that Ethereum finally hit a low, which was quite lower than it usually had been, so I put my whole $300 in, and I eventually grew it to about $345 to $350, which was incredible to me because I started with 200, so I was like almost doubling my money. So eventually I heard about Solana, and I heard that Solana had a lower market cap than the rest of these coins. So I threw my entire portfolio into Solana when it went down, and then waited for it to go up. Same thing as I've been doing. Eventually I started learning more about crypto, and I learned about resistance and how I can use that as leverage. And I was able to grow my money up to like $400 or $500 by then. Now, this was the point that I realized that this could go big and that I could actually start making money. And as a 19-year-old kid, I was making no money, and I decided that, well, I'm gonna quit my job and go all in. And I had more money on the side. So from my working at my part-time job, I had about $1,000 bucks. So I took that, put it into crypto, and went from there. Once I had about $1,500, that was enough for like one Ethereum at the time. So I was able to buy one whole Ethereum, and I was so proud of myself. And eventually I saw that the markets were going up, everything was rising at once, and I was able to grow my Ethereum to like $2,300, which was insane to me. And basically, I kept repeating the process. I kept doing it. When markets went down, I sold, or when they started to go down. And then when they started to go up, I put all my money in, waited for the pump, pumped, dumped, kept doing this. And of course, it wasn't all profit. Here and there, I did lose money, but at the same time, I also gained money. And eventually, I knew exactly how to time the market perfectly, and I was at $5,000. At this point, I was feeling real good about myself because everyone around me was just drinking and partying while I was making money on crypto. I felt amazing and just kept going, and this led to me getting a little too egoistic, and I lost about $1,500 on Shiba Inu. Now this really put into perspective the other side of crypto, and because I was only making gains, I didn't really see how much I could lose, and I was kind of depressed, but I didn't let it get me down and I kept going. I started going away from the more volatile coins and over to more stabler coins like Ethereum and Solana, as well as Bitcoin here and there. And eventually I got back up to 6 grand. And that was like a big point in my life where I was like, okay, I really do need to like double down, keep going, and just see how much I can do this, see how big this thing can go. Fast forward to January of 2023, I'm at $6,000 and everything is falling. All the markets are crashing and I didn't know exactly what to do, so I just held for a little while and eventually Bitcoin hit 16k, and that's when I knew. I was like, okay, 16k, I'm putting all my money in. I put my whole portfolio of 6 grand into Bitcoin, and I just waited and like I watched my money go down. I watched it depreciate, but I just kept hanging in there, and eventually Bitcoin started to pump again. As Bitcoin pumped, I just kept holding and holding and holding, and eventually Bitcoin got all the way up to $25,000, and I was losing my mind, but I decided to sell because I thought that there's no way it could keep going up. Spoiler alert, it did keep going up, but I ended up gaining just over $3,000. I think it was $3,300 or something. So I was finally like just under 10k, which was the biggest thing because like I started off making nothing, and like $10,000 for me was like, I don't know, to me it was just like I know it's a milestone and I know it's probably not that much for a lot of you guys, but for me it was huge. So after that pump, I watched Bitcoin for a little while and analyzed it, and I realized that like Bitcoin kept going down, so I just kept my money out of Bitcoin, and eventually it reached 20k again. So I put all my money back in, which was 9,300 at the time, and then it went all the way up to 28k. Despite that, I actually did sell off around 26k because I was scared again, because I thought that it was going to go right back down, but I still ended up making about 2 grand. And now here we are today, and I've made just under $11,000 in crypto, so I'm definitely not going to stop now. But I've been hearing about a bunch of new coins popping up like Hobbs, Gatsby, a lot of Elon coins. Don't know if I'm actually gonna splurge and endeavor into those, but we'll see where crypto takes me in the future.